What is up, guys? Wraec is here with a new video, and today I want to talk about something very important in case you want to do your best in Clash Royale and literally all other game modes, we have to say, because today is a very important day for the people that basically stayed at the highest efficiency possible in AFK progress. You should have today reached the resonance level 800, and at that point you unlock the stage 3 faction talents, which is pretty huge. There's a lot of stuff in here, a lot of good stuff, a lot of stuff that I want to show you guys and that I want to give you a little bit of theory crafting about and give you maybe a way that you can go forward in those trees and which ones you want to focus on first. So before we go into that though, resonance level 800 actually unlocked the second thing, and I want to quickly point this out because I myself tend to miss such stuff. If we go into the artifacts, we can see I now have artifacts at plus 25, and the upgrade from plus 24 to plus 25 was locked behind resonance level 800. And it's not a very huge upgrade. It gives you a few more stats and gives you like the last upgrade right here, but you can already see like this is a fairly common upgrade. It's not like a new effect in that sense. But the thing about this is I often have like a few artifacts not upgraded, and then I have this exclamation mark here, and then it's easy to miss when you unlock such a threshold. So definitely want to point this out in this video, as this can give you like a few ranks in Dream Realm already. If you missed that and now find it, that's like at least a few ranks. So definitely check out if you unlock that already, and if you are resonance level 800, you should upgrade your artifact. So starting off with the trees though, it's fairly interesting. Well, we have a structure that we already know, like the ones on the side here. Those are just upgrades from the existing ones before. Like this one is the damage of Hogan's Descent, so is the leftmost here. And for the rightmost here, that's the same one. It's also the damage, the extra boost of the Prime Carrier's base attack, and we have the same here. This middle one isn't. So if we now go up and compare this is like the reduces Hogan's damage taken, which is pretty cool. This one is not. This one actually comes from stage 1. This is the upgrade of this stage 1 stage 1 skill. Heals spoken by amount equal to 90% of the damage dealt by the Prime Carrier, and this gets upgraded to 100%. Not a super huge upgrade. Hogan is usually pretty healthy, but still nonetheless fairly interesting. And for the most trees, this means that those 3 skills are fairly unimpactful. For this one, this is indeed the case. The last one, however, that is a new thing. Activates Epic Domination, increasing attack by 35% for himself and the Prime Carrier, respectively. Prime Carriers, of course. I mean, in the situation that we have two, for example, if we go into the talent trials, we of course have the double tile active. Like here, we of course have 2 Prime Carriers for once, the twins in that case, and Cryonia. And that would of course mean that both of those get attack buff by 35%, getting even more attack on Cryonia. And that is something that we would definitely want. On the twins, that could be interesting with the base stat distribution, how that works out. Could be fairly interesting to go for that. It is fairly basic, I have to say. It is not like a thing where I would say, oh, this is like the huge PvP thing, this changes everything or something like this. Is definitely not the case, but nonetheless a fairly decent, a fairly nice upgrade that we got right there. And we're losing this fight. The wilder one, on the other hand, way more interesting. If we go into that, well, we have the concealed state. I already made a guide, by the way. I should have mentioned that at the start. I made a guide about the faction talents for stage 1 and 2, so maybe check this out before you go into this. So here we have the concealed state. Goes up from 9 to 9.5 seconds. It's nice. It's not really the big thing. We get some extra ultimate damage, also not the big thing. And on the last one, we get true damage and we get stun. I kind of like the stun at 0.5 seconds, the extra true damage, 80% of attack. I guess it's okay. I wasn't quite as amazed by this one as I was by the Lightbearer one. Like in comparison, I just think the Lightbearer one would be a little bit better. What I was amazed by though is the middle one here. Allows the Prime Carrier to enter concealed state for 3 and gets upgraded to 4 seconds after assisting or defeating a non-summoned enemy for the first time. So this is a very substantial upgrade, actually, a 33% upgrade that we get right here. And this can be very insane. Like, especially if you have a little bit of an advantage, we can punch Andre a little bit at this point. Maybe leave him a like on the profile while we are on the way. And for example, I built this little team right here that we have a little bit of a Harak team. We have the Lorsan link and we get a little bit of an attack speed boost from our Parisa. And in a situation like this, we, for example, have an absolutely immune concealed Harak, which is like just very, very mean. And once this guy gets too old, he just stays himself through the enemy team, and they really don't stand a chance. You can see he just lost the concealed state right there, and then immediately regained this, and getting like an extra bit of concealed on top for this guy is like, it would be very, very great actually. So having a team like this with the extra bit of concealed and the way to get it back is really, really nice, and you can achieve stuff like this. Look at this. 0 damage taken, 0 damage taken, and this Harak, of course, was rushing through the enemy team, so that is something that we definitely have to keep in mind. I wanted to say fairly big Paragon advantage, but actually not even that big of a Paragon advantage, because he also has P2 on the Ludovic now. Bloody whale. Okay. As you can see, like, especially if you have such a chain going, that can be very, very interesting. You can also use that on like a Cryonire or something. It's not really the huge PvE thing, I would necessarily say, but nonetheless a very, very good skill, and something that is very, very interesting to go with. And this middle one, really, really good. So I'm personally going just straight down here, because you can immediately unlock that. I will just go with the 200 and then go for this one, and I will unlock this fairly quickly. Maybe we can go over the materials for a second right here. If we go into the materials, we can see right now from the stages I actually still obtain the last one, which I don't even need anymore. But once you reach 1500, you start getting the talent essence. The problem here is one single stat boost right here costs 200. From the stages, from the AFK progress, you get around 40. So meaning you will need like you will need to clear 50 stages to actually progress one single skill there. On the season level, however, every 10 levels grants you 300, which is 1.5 skill. So it's a little bit easier in terms of effort, though I guess if you are lazy like me, you can just like auto play it. I saw a few people already at like 1600. That's a bit of an advantage right now, actually, if you push ahead. So maybe that's something that's possible. I really like the strategy of just going straight down here, grabbing this, and then you already have like a big asset for PvP already down there. For the wilder one, I don't want to go into it too much, like the increase here for the life drain. I don't really like it too much. Knockdown damage there, I don't like it too much, I'll be honest. I had some thoughts about this one. Increases all allies attack by 15%, the haste by 30 for 15 seconds whenever prime carrier's prey is defeated. This effect is active as long as the prime carrier remains in battle. You don't even have to the prime carrier doesn't even have to defeat their prey. It's just like the prey has to be defeated, which is sadly the hero that does the most damage, if I remember correctly, that has dealt the most cumulative damage. Usually that is the hardest to kill, I have to say. So the sniping idea of just taking the damage dealer away that was followed in the Mauler teams this season really hasn't worked out so far. So I'm not sure if that is going to be a thing, and I feel like if you defeat the enemy that dealt the most damage, and usually if you take like the big damage dealer away, let's just scroll a second back in our head to the Harak fight. If we take away the Harak, of course this team kind of falls together. It doesn't really work anymore. So in that situation, if you already achieved that, is it really like the 15% attack buff that you want? Is that essential? I don't really feel like it. It's a substantial buff. 15% attack, 30 haste for 15 seconds. You can stack it. You can, in theory, defeat more prey. So in that scenario, it could be interesting. But I really don't see it. Like, I feel like it would have been greater if we got a buff that actually would have fulfilled us getting to the purpose of this skill, which is defeating the prey. So a buff that happens before we actually defeat the prey. Something that happens after defeating the prey, in my opinion. Well, I don't even want to really make a showcase. It is not that interesting, in my opinion. And thus, this is still a dead skill to me. Maybe we'll later on see the purpose. If we can reliably achieve that, and if we can reliably say, okay, the prime carrier will go for the prey and will defeat it, then this could be good. Like, this skill is always like on the borderline of being great, in my opinion. Because taking the thought to like Cryonire in the enemy team, and you want to defeat her, and you just are able to go with this skill and like insta snipe the prey. Would be great. Never really worked out because more people would use it otherwise, and then it just gets outperformed at the moment by like Wilder skill and Celestial Hypogen skill, which more people use, or like the Graveborn meta. And with that, I think we just switch over to the Graveborn stuff. Middle one. Actually, a very nice upgrade. Allows the Prime Carrier to deal 80% more damage to the enemy whose soul they AFC, so it gets upgraded to 25%. We have 2 enemies on the board which soul will be seized, so this is like a pretty substantial damage increase, and then we can combine that with Storm Strike spell, and this works out fairly well. For the other 2, like again, there is like a minor increase to the enemy HP loss ratio. We take it, it's okay. In PvE, there's actually a substantial amount of damage, but it's not like that insane. And the attack ratio, more attack stone, is pretty good. On the last one, we gain a shield. Like, I don't think it's super insane, but I take a shield. And of course, the good old Storm Strike Graveborn combo was something we showed. I saw the Storm Strike actually used on some wilder combos as well. This felt interesting because it's such a strong PvP artifact. I still like the Graveborn one. Here we combine with a little bit of Bonnie of Talene, and then we have like 2 enemies that are super vulnerable, and if we don't take them out with Storm Strike immediately, bam, there we go, then still we would be able to like go in with Wraec. So maybe we make like another attempt at this team. Bonnie actually doing damage here. Oh, now we missed it. Wait, I will quickly show it again. It's kind of fun because in this situation Bonnie actually deals the most damage. So we have like our P1 Bonnie absolutely demolishing the enemy, which is pretty cool. I mean, we have Paragon advantage here. We are rocking Crown Ludovic still. Super nice, by the way. Love it. But yeah, so if we go away from the Storm Strike spell, maybe to make a little bit more use of the Wraec, and we can just go back to Lightforge, I reckon. Then we see we immediately get the damage there on the enemy. The problem with this one is that once you have Ludovic on the enemy side, of course, like he starts to gain damage, but you can see instantly steamrolling there, the Wraec. Comes to the ground, dives over there, and bam, we have already 25,000 buffs on this guy, which is absolutely great. So makes it very easy for something like Wraec to get through, or you can combine it with one of my favorite heroes, still Bonnie with insane damage, by the way, very nice. You can combine it with one of my favorite heroes, where we already made a video about unleashing Sylvina. We still like to unleash Sylvina. Sylvina, absolutely great. If you combine that, then of course you once again have the nice advantage of once we get the kill on the enemy, where is it? Then we frighten the enemies there in the enemy team, and this is like a very nice thing because we just get to steamroll through the enemy team through this. So a combination with Sylvina is actually something that could be very interesting, and the extra damage certainly amplifies that a little bit and helps us do it. The extra shield, I mean, of course, okay, nice, but I think this is once again a skill where I would just like go to the middle, take it, and then you're pretty good on this. Last one, super interesting one. Definitely one of the cooler ones. I think could be very interesting for PvP. Not super broken in that sense, but that last skill is really nice. First of all, I want to show that as a freebie, like this. At the battle stars, restores 100 and gets upgraded to 125 energy to all allies who are placed within 1 tile of the Prime Carrier during battle preparation. So we have a huge energy increase to our heroes, which is very nice. We take that. Then next up, we of course have our normal energy restoration to the Prime Carriers, which we already know. We have the Divine Power increase, nothing too spectacular. But on the last one, we get something big again. And this is a little bit reminiscent of the last season, where we got like this huge area of effect on the Whirlwind one. Here we get a Dark Explosion. And they cast their first ultimate, triggers a Dark Explosion in a 2-tile area with most enemies, dealing 250% magic damage and causing the enemy hit to lose 200 energy. So I lose a lot of energy. And the question here that remains is, of course, we have 2 Prime Carriers. So double explosion, that would be sweet. Double explosion. Magic damage is not the big thing, though an interesting thing, because once again, Bonnie within the enemy team, 2 times magic damage explosion on the enemy. That could be very sweet. Plus the 200 energy loss, that is very nice. And here we already have Andre again. He's standing close together, and for Celestial Hypogen, the thing you really do is play with energy feed. Like, you play with energy feed, you position your Prime Carriers there behind. The idea on this one is actually to lure in his Lily May on our Talene, and then quickly hit him with the double of the Cryonia and the Diana. Let's see how that works out. We have super fast energy. Do you see that? Super fast energy, already full. He got the Cryonia. Okay. Because of the... he got the trap there. Okay. That was intended. That was supposed to work out that way. Yeah. The problem was that he runs Confining Spell. So that didn't really work out because we weren't CC immune, but I mean, it worked. I'm not the one to complain when my team actually destroys him, but like the double thing is, of course, we have two crown heroes in this one, and yeah, that's a little bit cheating. But the purpose of the fight was, of course, to demonstrate, yeah, there is like a little bit of a thing going on with the energy, and you can move energy around. You can very, very quickly get to ults, and that is very interesting, of course. So then having also like the extra advantage and playing into the idea of the whole skill, and that is maybe a little bit of the opposite of what the Mauler skill really does. We also inflict the opposing effect of losing energy on the enemy team. And I mean, when we try to get our ult fast, it's never really about us being fast. It's always about us being faster than the enemy. So this further amplifies our winning position in a sense, because once we get to that first ult that is likely to be countered, which we just saw with the Talene, this would also probably trigger already this Dark Explosion, which gives us a little bit more time to get to the second ult, and once we get that, then everything is really settled. So, while, I mean, it would of course be better if it would also happen before the ult, getting to the first ult is kind of easy on this skill. It's like not the final purpose, it's like something that happens pretty quickly, and then we, of course, then we get into our buffs. Damage of a Prime Carrier's first ultimate is increased. When then we have the ultimate cast right here, and we have the 4 ultimates that grant us then the divine power with the HP and attack increase and everything. That is pretty cool. So this is a very quick skill, a very damage-oriented skill, a very ult-oriented skill, and this works well together with a lot of the Hypogen and Celestial heroes, especially something like Cryonia or Diurnal. And we saw Talene as well. Yeah, pretty cool. Talene's still a little bit underrated, I think. Like, especially if you combine that with Bonnie. Bloody hell, it's pretty insane. So definitely a lot of interesting things going on. I hope you enjoyed this video a little bit. It's a little bit longer than I thought it would be, but that's okay. And if you haven't already, maybe subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys for the support in recent times. And other than that, I wish you a great day. We'll see us in the next one.